Welcome to Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins, where we teach everyday people how to create, fund, and live a life worth smiling and talking about. I believe the best way to do that is to become an entrepreneur. My name is Nancy Gaskins, and I'll be your host today. All our shows are recorded and archived so you can listen and learn online 24/7 all year long. You can find us on all your favorite social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and of course, all your favorite podcast platforms. There's never been a better time than now to consider owning and operating your own business. The current COVID crisis really opened up a lot of people's eyes to just how vulnerable they are to have to rely only on one stream of income. Multiple streams of income have now been a hot topic online, as well as home-based business opportunities. So I've decided to do something a little bit different this fall, and I'm teaming up with a wide variety of everyday entrepreneurs just like you and I from around the globe. We'll be discussing their entrepreneurial journeys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. These are real people, just like you, just like me, who've agreed to share their stories in hopes of inspiring and encouraging our listeners to follow their entrepreneurial dreams. So on today's episode, you're going to meet Miss Cathy Nesbitt. Cathy is a health and wellness advocate. She's the founder of Cathy's Crawley Composters, Cathy's Sprouters, and Cathy's Laughter Club. She's a multi-award winning environmental innovator who uses workshops and inspirational speaking to motivate people to live a more sustainable life. Her latest offering is Organo Gold, reishi mushroom infused coffee and tea. Now, let me tell you something about Cathy. I met her a few months ago at one of the virtual marketplace events. And let me tell you what, she got my attention. She had this beautiful smile and this crazy, infectious laugh. Now, that got my attention because I love to laugh. I mean, that was just like right up front. And since I'm a power connector and I'm always wanting to meet new people, I had to go and snoop to find out more about her before I reached out to say, hey, let's meet. And one of the interesting things that I saw on her Facebook was, guess what? She had this great profile of her laughing, this picture. It was beautiful. And then I learned some interesting things about Cathy. So Cathy, take a few minutes and share your story, how you become an entrepreneur, how'd you get into this current business, and tell us about this laughter yoga.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nancy. This is awesome. I'm so happy that we met. I can tell you my life is better just knowing you. You're so awesome.
You are so sweet.
Okay, so I was in corporate like many people, 20 years as a secretary. It takes me a long time to get the message. I was actually a really good secretary and I liked it. It's just that I didn't really know there was anything else because I don't have any entrepreneurs in my circle. None of my family are self-employed. It was, the message that I received was get a job, work hard, and then you get a watch when you retire. Yeah. So gosh, somehow along the way, things were planted in my way and I didn't know why. Like sometimes we're like, we don't know why things happen. And, I was introduced to worms. I was afraid of worms. I did it because I think that we should do things, rather than letting someone tell you, oh, you're not going to like that. Right. So I took on the challenge of worm composting for the summer, even though I didn't like worms. And it was a disaster. And I think that happened because now I'm a worm farmer. I said I would never do worm composting again. Then I got a job at a group home and they didn't compost. And I approached them about composting and the greenhouse manager said, why don't we do worm composting? I was like, not the worms again. And I thought, oh no, not the worms. But then I thought, let me do some research. And then when I started to research the vermicomposting or the red wigglers, I discovered the magic, Nancy. These red wiggler worms, they eat half their weight per day. They turn garbage, like our food scraps and paper, into nature's finest fertilizer so we can grow more nutrient-rich food. So waste management, soil production, food security, all in this little worm. Worms also have 5 hearts each. 5 hearts, can you imagine? So my fear turned from fear to awe. Then I became enamored with the worms. Then I got injured at work. Really interesting. And so I was a little bit stressed. I was thinking about doing this business, but I didn't really know what to do. I came home from work one day. There was an ad in the paper that said, "Are you a woman? Do you have a business idea?" And it was a 6-month course to write a business plan. I turned to my husband. I said, "I'm quitting my job. I'm taking this course. I'm starting a worm business." And here we are 18 years later. That was 2002.
Wow. So tell me, what possessed you all of a sudden to wake up and say, I think I'll check into worms? I mean, do you remember what that was? Did you go
Yes.
fishing or you know, what was
Well,
that?
so when I moved out of Toronto, when I bought a house, I moved to a small town, and a teacher friend that summer asked me to look after her worm bin. As an avid gardener and composter, I knew the value of the worm compost. I didn't really like worms. I didn't want them in my house, but I said, okay, I'll do it. It was a disaster, as I said. And then, so I forgot about that. And then when I started the job at the group home, they had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. So I was kind of really all this food scraps was on my mind. And then in 2002, the landfill for the Greater Toronto area closed, and we started shipping garbage to Michigan. Canada started shipping our garbage to Michigan, and 200 garbage trucks every day left the Toronto area for Michigan, like not the cute little garbage trucks, but 18-wheelers, 200
Wow.
a day. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And so I say shame on us as Canadians for shipping our garbage out of the country. And here you have it, double shame on the Americans for accepting our garbage for cash. You know, Michigan's slogan, I know you probably know, but Michigan's slogan is Great Lakes State. When you add garbage into the landfill, it doesn't just stay there. You know, that juice leaches into the water. So it's just, the whole thing is just wrong. And I knew I had a solution. So yeah, when that opportunity came to take that business course, I started my business. And then we had a garbage strike in 2002. And I was watching the news, people were lining up for hours to drop off their garbage. And I was like, those people don't compost, because if you compost, you take the stink out of garbage.
Ah.
So I said, so I was like, I'm going on a road trip. I'm going to educate some people. And I decided that I would send press releases to the Toronto outlets and let them know I'm coming to town with a solution. So 5 minutes after sending my press release, a reporter from the Toronto Star, our biggest outlet in Canada, phoned me and said, thank you for your press release. I wrote an article last week about composting. I forgot about the apartment dwellers. When you come down to the landfill, or to the transfer station, I'd like to interview you. Can you come to the Star? So I had my first article in the Toronto Star on July 18th, 2002. I called up my husband. I said, yay, I got an article in the Star. How fun. And he said, I'm on my way home. I just got downsized. Oh, what? So now I say, couldn't he have just got downsized tomorrow so I could celebrate my article in the Star? Anyway, here we are 18 years later. You know, I really think when you believe something, you can stick with it, and the universe will reward you with your staying power. I do believe that.
I agree. I agree. So let's talk about your business now. That's kind of what brought you into the business, kind of all of the nuts and bolts and pieces of how it came to be. So now let's talk about your business. Tell us what it is that you're doing, who do you help, what kind of products and services that you're offering right now, and how can we get involved?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. So my working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen. Like many entrepreneurs, I have a few balls that I'm juggling. And one is, my main gig is worm composting. So it's indoor composting with worms. Like, it's literally that. You have a container, the worms, just like outdoor composting, the worms require a carbon nitrogen mix. So the carbon inside would be your shredded paper, cardboard, egg cartons, drink trays, that kind of material. And the nitrogen is your food scraps. So you have your kind of own little waste disposal system right in your kitchen or wherever you decide to keep your worm bin. It's aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. So it doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell like the rotting food you're putting in it. Then the worms and the microbes and all the little critters in there, they turn that material into soil that then you can use in your gardens to grow more nutrient-rich food. So beautiful.
So is there a special place that we put this stuff in our house when we're doing these worms? Or does it matter? Is it in the sun? Is it in the shade? Is it under your sink? Is it in a closet? Where is it?
So in Canada, it needs to be inside in the winter. You know, Florida, California, Texas, you guys are all right year round outside. Although I would say you want to be mindful of the heat. The worms are temperature sensitive. So I would say if you were going to keep it outside, you would keep it in the shade for sure. And there's holes in the bin. So if it's going to rain, you want to make sure that it's covered so it doesn't so you don't drown your worms. So who am I serving? You know, really the condo dwellers. If you live in an apartment or a townhouse condo without outdoor space, all of your scraps are going to landfill now. If you live in a house, you have the option of composting. Not everybody does. That's okay. So this is an option for anybody that wants to be a little bit more sustainable in their life, managing some of that, and then using that beautiful soil for your plants rather than buying compost or fertilizer. You can just make your own with your scraps. You know, when I started, I was like, I heard that a pound of worms and their descendants could transform a ton of organic waste. And prior to that, I heard that the average Canadian/American family produces a ton of organic waste in a year. And I thought every family needs a pound of worms. And I'm just the one to put a pound of worms in every house. And then
Very good.
But
you know what? Here's a new tagline for us to work on our Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday. I love that. I love that.
So I started to do exhibiting at, you know, farmers markets and trade shows and etc. And I discovered that other people had this kind of fear of worms. And I thought, how am I going to put worms in every house if people are afraid? So I took on school workshops. So now I do speaking. I do workshops. Over 75,000 students have seen my presentation. And it's probably my favorite thing to do. I love watching the kids. Some of them are afraid, they're apprehensive, you know, because we're trained to be afraid of things. And when I talk to them about the worms having 5 hearts, words have energy. So, you know, it's magic. I don't know what's going to happen with COVID.
Right. I have a question for you. When you come into the schools, how do you come in? Because one of the things that this just came to my mind, I work with our local garden clubs around here, and we have a junior garden club that's in our school system. So I'm wondering if maybe if you had like a little course that you could sell or push through, that we could incorporate that into what we're doing in our school systems and kind of run that through that way also.
Oh,
I don't know. We'll brainstorm that out and we'll meet one-on-one, but I'm just curious because you're only one person and you can only do, you know, so much. But if you had an army of people that was out here doing this for you, with you, through some other programs that are maybe already inside those school systems, boy, talking about the impact quickly that we could possibly have.
Love it. That's beautiful. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Write that down for us to remember to discuss that. Okay, so we've got the worm composting. So let's talk a little bit now about sprouts. And I'm so excited. My grandkids come back. I can't wait. We've already got that on our list to do this week. So we're going to start our sprouts. So how'd you come up with the sprouts? And tell us about that.
So 2002 was a big year. So I started exhibiting with my business. And at one of my very first events, there was a gentleman selling the sprouter that I'm now selling. I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting. He's super healthy. He's a ballroom dancer. He was 72. He's 91 now. and I didn't, as I said, I didn't know anything about sprouts and sprouting. And I said to him, what is that spaceship thing? And he told me all about sprouts, how like they're sprouts contain everything that our body needs. They're hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic. They're just superfoods for our body. We can grow them at home for pennies a day. And so I was like, gosh, he looks super healthy. So I said, okay, I'm in. I'm gonna do it. So he said, if you're gonna do this, start your day with 2 tablespoons of sprouted mung beans for the enzymes, up to 100 times more digestive enzymes in raw sprouts than raw vegetables. And if we're not taking in enzymes when we're eating, then as we start to age, we get digestive issues, and we go to the doctor, and the doctor writes a prescription for enzyme pills.
Wow. Do you happen to have one of those handy so you can show your sprouter right there? If not, it's no big deal. We'll do some pictures later, and I'll include those on our link.
Okay, beautiful. Yes.
All right. All right. So she's a sprouter, and she has those. Now let's talk about laughter yoga. What is it? How on earth did you get involved with this? And tell us some of the places that you're using this. And our little Olivia just sent me a message saying she attended one of your classes the other day and loved it. So take off.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so laughter yoga is so fun. I've been laughing for 5 years. I'm a natural laugher, so I was laughing long before I was introduced to laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is not about fancy pants or poses. It's intentional laughter exercises. It's like going to the gym, but it's just laughing. So I loved it so much. And it was at a networking event that's, one of the speakers, that was her thing. And she talked about laughter yoga. And I was like, that's interesting. That same week at another event, I met a woman there was like hundreds of people at this networking event. The very first person I met that same week that I heard of laughter yoga was a laughter teacher. And I said, oh, like twice in 1 week, I said, laughter yoga is mainstream. And she said, no, it isn't. So that night we trooped around together, every person we met. I said, have you heard of laughter yoga? Have you heard of laughter yoga? Have you heard of Nobody had heard of it. I was like, oh, interesting. Anyway, I decided, I loved it so much. I became a leader to teach classes. And then I decided to become actually a teacher so I can teach teachers to teach. And now I go in, oh my gosh, Nancy, it's so beautiful. So my worm workshops are super fun already. Now I've incorporated laughter. So we have laughter and worms in the school. Magic. It's beautiful. And pre-COVID, I was going into long-term care, working with folks with dementia and also with special needs in different organizations, going in and doing laughter with the clients. Oh my gosh, again, it's not about jokes or comedy. So it's just laughing. You don't need to understand anything. It's that feeling. It's kind of like music, how you remember when you hear a piece of music, you remember about when you first heard it. Laughter is similar, where it just, it energizes your whole system, where you're like, I feel great.
Well, I have to tell you, I told you this before, but I'm going to share it with the listeners. What was funny was my brother brought, it was his anniversary, and he brought his little granddaughter down here, and we were talking about you. And I asked them if they had ever heard of laughter yoga, and told her all about you, showed them your picture and all of that stuff. And before they left, the first night, the little girl came up to me, just out of the clear blue sky. She looked at me, she looked up, she just reared back and gave me the biggest old belly laugh. Well, I got tickled. I run over to her. I started laughing real loud. And then she laughed back, and me and her was laughing. And her grandma came in there and said, what are y'all doing? What's going on? And we was just laughing. Then we would just, oh my gosh, it got everybody in the house laughing. And she's like, is this a laughter yoga? Are y'all doing laughter yoga? I said, I don't know, but it sure is fun. And so I came back and I had to share, because this is one of those things that you don't know the lives that you're impacting, Cathy, because people don't even know you. And when we share, or, just something like that. So I want to say thank you for doing something so wonderful and making a difference the way that you do. But I just thought that was so neat. So we've got that. Now, how does this all tie in? We've got Organo Gold, this gourmet healthy coffee and tea. So tell us about that now.
So that's another piece of being an entrepreneur. We're talking today about multiple streams of income. It's essential, because you don't know, you might have a job and then you don't have a job, or, maybe people don't want worms all of a sudden, or whatever. So I've got, again, several balls, and my latest, my very, very latest, I guess, is the Organo coffee. Well, I guess the Eradicators is the latest. So the Organo coffee is reishi mushroom infused coffees and teas. And what I say about that is, if you could change one daily habit and feel better, would you? Like just swapping out your coffee. So this is alkaline coffee, where most coffees are acidic. So it's alkaline. So that's great start already. And then it's all infused with reishi mushrooms. So if you take it with milk and sugar, they've added more reishi mushrooms, so it counters the negative effects of the dairy and the sugar. Same with the teas. Also, it's green and red tea, and they're also infused with the reishi mushroom, which I'm just learning about the mushroom. It's called an adaptogen, which means that it goes in your body wherever you need it. And there's really incredible healing power in mushrooms. All of the things that I do, Nancy, I would say, I've been thinking about my journey as an entrepreneur. All of the things that I do are preventative. I want to prevent the landfill from filling up. So I want everyone to get worms and do composting. I want to stay healthy. So I eat sprouts every day. 18 years now, I'm super duper healthy. I'm 57, take no prescription drugs, no multivitamin. I'm high energy, sprouts every day. So I don't have a story that I was sick and I ate sprouts and now I'm better. No, I'm just healthy. I'm just healthy. And the laughter is kind of the same. The laughter came to me at a time when I was starting to doubt the worms. I was just like, I don't know that everyone, this is ever going to be a solution for everyone, because it just seems so hard. I was hearing another person say, ew, worms in the house. And I'm an empath, so I'm very sensitive. And I was told my whole life, get a thicker skin, you're too sensitive, da-da-do-do-do. And I believe that happened to me because it's impossible to be too sensitive. That's what I understand now. I believe that because look around. Our world, imagine if we were all really sensitive, we wouldn't be hurting each other. We'd be caring. I do a lot of workshops and I deal a lot with girls, and it breaks my heart when young girls come up to me and they go, oh, I'm sorry, Canadian, right? I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm so sensitive. I know I'm too sensitive. And then I go, okay, please. Take that back. And then I just say to them, imagine when you say that you're too sensitive, it just means that you care too much. How is that possible? It's not possible. Right. That's what I think.
So what's this Eradicator that you just teased me with? I guess I don't know about this yet.
Okay, so yes, this is our very, very latest offering. Like, again, as an entrepreneur, when opportunities arise, you jump on it if it's for you. So I was introduced through the Selling on the Spot marketplace, this Eradicator, which, with our Wi-Fi and with the increased Gs, like now we're talking about 5G. How this was explained to me was like, we can look at the different phones. So the first phone was 1G, and that was just phone, just talk. The next one was 2G, and it was talk and text. The next one, 3G, talk, text, and internet. Now we're at 4G. We've got talk, text, internet, and then I don't know, other things. 5G is going to be, it's called the Internet of Things. So all your smart things, smart fridge, smart thermometer, smart car. No, not smart car. That's a brand. Okay, so all of that is emanating out all of these waves, and so this Eradicator is there's a different things. There's a shield that you can wear, or there's little things that you can attach to your cell phone or your computer, your phone or your fridge, whatever's emanating energy, and it helps to block that, so that we're protecting our body. We can't get away from it. The
right.
waves are everywhere.
Yes.
The Canadian Health Organization, or was it who? Maybe it was the World Health Organization, talked about microwaves being harmful. All of those cell phone waves are in there. And now 5G takes in microwaves, which is 3G, and then adds more Gs. So it just is a bigger range. It's invisible. That's the challenge with, it's hard to
Right.
understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I say that is a big market and something that's very much needed. So we'll be looking forward to getting your links on that. So let's get down in the trenches a little bit. Let's get some advice going on. What are some tips and advice that you would give somebody that's interested in becoming an entrepreneur?
I would say figure out what it is that you really enjoy doing. There's always tasks that you're going to do that, aren't your favorite. You can't do all good things. Yes, you can. Like figure out what it is that you like doing, what you don't want to do, maybe make a list, and then look for a solution. Look for a problem that you have a solution to, and then there's a business. I say to the students when I go into schools, unfortunately, we can't have a basket of solutions. And geez, I wish a problem would come along. I have all these solutions. Right? We have to wait for problem to come. And there's lots of them. There's mega problems in the world right now. And we're just waiting for leaders, entrepreneurs to step forward. We need people to stop being sheep. We need people to be at the head of the pack. We really do.
I agree. I agree. So, on this journey that you've been traveling, what lessons have you learned? What's something that you know now that you wished you had known back then that you could pass along as advice?
I wish I knew about templates. A couple of things. Templates. So when you have a business, people are going to ask you the same questions over and over and over. And you're going to get emails and by however people are communicating with you, and they'll be asking you the same. Like you can imagine for me, I get, what's the difference between the different worms? What can I feed them? Does it smell? What do I do if I have this? So I've got someone told me right at the beginning of my business, create a template to answer those, like kind of like an FAQ page.
Yes.
So you can just go copy, paste, boom, and it's going to be so much faster. That saved me so many keystrokes. And the second piece would be if somebody is starting a business where you are going to be exhibiting once we're allowed to exhibit again, I would say get branded apparel, get branded shirts or hats, whatever fits whatever you're doing. Again, I do a lot of exhibiting. My first year of business, somebody said to me, hey, if you're going to be doing farmers markets and stuff, you should get t-shirts. And as a non-fashion person, this was a big gift. It saved me so much stress of, morning of, oh, what am I going to wear? I always knew I'm going to wear my shirt. And then it's so beautiful because when I see people around, it says Cathy's Crawley Composter, so people know I'm Cathy. So it's
And you've
so
got a
beautiful.
great logo, cute little apple with the worm. It's adorable. You've done a great job on your logo, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so those would be my two kind of off the top, but I would say a third piece would be work on yourself. Always be working on yourself, like your self-esteem, your confidence, doffing your demons. We all have them.
Yep.
Get in there in the closet and root out all those skeletons and so that you can work with a clear conscience, you can work with integrity and be heart-centered because the world really needs heart-centered leaders with solutions.
That is true. That is true. So, would you like to share your website with us? Now, we'll be putting your links and everything in on this episode, but you want to just give us your website address right quick?
Yeah, it's Cathy'sComposters.com is my main site. You can get to all of my information from there.
Okay. Do you have a special offer for our listeners today?
Oh, yes, I do. I would love to challenge the listeners to the 7-day Organo Challenge. Swap out your favorite coffee or tea for 1 week. And, well, I just would love to know how you feel afterwards. So the cost would depend on what it is that you drink. If you drink latte, it's going to be one price or whatever. But get in touch. Really, this will be one way that you can feel great just by swapping out a daily habit.
Fantastic. Well, folks, you've been listening to Cathy Nesbitt from Cathy's Crawley Composters. Thank you so much for being with us today, Cathy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Join us next time as we begin to explore a little further into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship. We'll be offering tips and advice on how to build a sustainable business model that can fund the life of your dreams. For those of you who are already in business, we're going to help you discover even more creative ways to grow your business. Tune in to learn how to avoid some of the most common pitfalls, and we'll also be answering some of your most pressing entrepreneurial questions, so send those in. You can text those to me at 850-499-7149. That's 850-499-7149. You've been listening to Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins, where we teach everyday people how to live a life worth smiling and talking about. We believe the best way to do that is become an entrepreneur. So come join our tribe. Thank you again, Cathy. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thank you.